So, hi everybody. Now let's start officially. So, I'm happy also to be together with Kim in this webinar. We met with Kim while she was in the San Diego airport leading the innovation department. Today, she's with Deloitte, and uh, she's not only experienced with airports and how airports can benefit by all of these new technologies. Today is AI and data-driven solutions, but she also has experience with other industries, such as retail, where we have also worked together. Do you want to say a few things, Kim?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the intro, Georgios, and thank you all for jumping on today. My name is Kim McLean. I currently lead the Design Innovation Labs for Hybrid Technologies at Deloitte and lead a global initiative for sustainability as it relates to technologies and its interaction with retails, airports, smart cities, and that kind of thing. And I came to know Ariadne as a company almost 5 years ago now, when, as Georgios mentioned, I was the innovation lab manager at San Diego Airport. We collaborated with Ariadne to kind of continue developing their solution within our lab, relating kind of to our airport specifically. And it was so impactful, the data that we got out of it, that we immediately signed them to a multi-year contract. And that was several years ago. It's still going strong. And I think we can, over time, see the growth of the impact there. And since I've moved over to Deloitte, I do continue supporting Ariadne because I've yet to see another solution that comes close to what this technology can do. And my whole job is technology innovation. So I don't see anything like this that's being developed in the market. We see pieces here and there, but nothing that can really do end to end, and nothing that has the privacy and the security, and nothing that gives all the same kind of data that you can parse and pull in different ways, as Ariadne does. So I will wax poetic if you let me go too long. So I'll turn it back to you, Georgios. I might, share some anecdotes as we go throughout kind of what your solution can do, about how it kind of impacted what we saw at San Diego. But yeah, thanks for having me on today.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind intro. I appreciate, and I want to, I don't know, without sound arrogant, I want to agree that I'm also searching for a decent competitor, and I cannot find someone. I'm sorry if I sound arrogant now, but I cannot find someone that can fulfill, tick all the KPIs that we can provide. But we don't have investors, I hope, in our panel today, in our visitors today, in our participants. But whenever I speak with investors, they all are telling me how fragmented the market is. And I don't understand why, for investors, the market seems to be fragmented. And when we go to the airport, especially in the US, there are very limited companies that can provide some meaningful information. Okay, let's move to the topic. So whoever doesn't know what we do, a refresher, everybody gets phones. So we first assume this, and our phones are emitting signals. Even in aeroplane mode, our phones are emitting signals. Some phones, even when they are switched off, they are emitting signals. We can sense those signals. We can estimate the distance between the sensor and the signal emission, and by estimating the distance from multiple angles, let's say, we can triangulate. The correct term is multilaterate, but it's practically the same. It's similar. Anyway, we do this with the hardware that we can provide, but we can also do this, and this is a newer solution. It's only for a year now. We can also enable the same solution using existing hardware, which is already located inside airports. And I don't know if you're aware also, Kim, you mentioned San Diego Airport. San Diego Airport is using Aruba hardware, and we are doing now an expansion only with the use of Aruba hardware. So we don't install any hardware. We use the existing hardware from Aruba. The biggest differences than other solutions out there, which is mostly camera-based solutions, is that each device or its access point can cover at least 20 times bigger area. We say 35, so it's very often 35 times bigger area, which reduces the cost 35 times. but it also doesn't sacrifice the accuracy at all. So we have the same accuracy with the camera, and even better because we are measuring trajectories and cameras are counting how many people pass across the line, which have the problem of multi-counting. So when you have people moving back and forth, they are multi-counting. We are not only working with airports, we're working in other industries. We're working for verticals, also retail, shopping centers, and smart cities. We are in more than 20 countries active and with more than 200 customers. And we have tracked more than 700 million trajectories. And we are with recognized logos. Also in retail, in airports, as we already mentioned, we are working with San Diego Airport. We're working also here in our city in Munich with Munich Airport. We work with Glasgow in UK, Changi in Singapore, other airports in the US. So the first problem we are tackling, and this is how we met with Kim, is the queuing problem. So nobody likes to be queued, I expect. But if you go to an airport, you can only do three things: either being queued at security area, or waiting at the gate for your flight, or do the more interesting stuff, which is dwelling at the commercial area. We help airports to reduce the two boring parts, even if you are an airport or you are a passenger. For both, this is not what you wish to do. And we help them increase the middle, the more interesting part. Why is this important? Because with every 1 minute we increase dwell time, the revenue of the airport is increased by $54,000, and we don't speak about the biggest airport here. So bigger airports definitely will have much bigger returns. I'm not arguing that you need more data, and I don't try to sell more data. What I'm arguing that you already have too much data. Airports have already too much data. They have data about flights, they have data about parking, they have data about consumption of energy, they have data about flights, delays, etc. What I'm arguing is that those data, all of these tables, are in silos. So they don't have a way to communicate to each other. Now, our solution, think of it with the following example. So imagine you arrive at San Diego Airport by the shuttle bus because you left your car in the parking. You move inside the airport and you meet a video advertisement. You go to check in and to drop your baggage. So there is already 3 tables that have registered you somehow. You go through the security. So a 4th table register you because there is a queuing time associated now with you. You go to the food court. You eat something. So a 5th table. You go to the gate and you fly. So you take your flight. So now you have all of these tables that they cannot talk to each other. There is no way to talk to each other. There is no the primary key that we say when we try to connect tables with each other. But if you think about it, the trajectory is the primary key. So the trajectory is the key to connect all of these tables and be able to talk to each other. And this is also where my presentation is focusing today.
Georgios,
yes,
if I could cut in real quick, what you just showed is exactly for us at San Diego, what showed us that we were placing our in-terminal marketing in the wrong places. We weren't matched up with where people were actually dwelling and spending their time. Our existing technology, which you mentioned, it's all kind of fragmented, and that's kind of what we had. And it wasn't that great. It was like counting people twice, and it was missing passengers, and it was confusing suitcases or carts and telling us that it was people. And so we had kind of a misconception about where our people were flowing. And you can stand out there in the terminal and kind of get a gut check, but that's not the same as having real consistent data over time. And so after we pulled your data in over one of our terminals, we were able to see that like we were completely missing that dwell time and the pause points and the decision points that our passengers were making. So we made a switch in where we were placing our in-terminal marketing, and we could track from day one a measurable jump in all of our non-aeronautical revenue from dining and retail and concessions, because we were able to put those messages in front of people where we now knew that they were. It's one of the things that convinced our finance team to move forward with a long-term contract, because we could, if we figured if we could see that much of an improvement during just this like localized test that we were doing with the lab, then we knew it was going to be even bigger once we got, all the devices across both terminals. And I mean, I mentioned at the beginning that we haven't seen anything else like this. And I just think, for me anyway, this was the coolest technology available that, and still is, we hadn't seen anything. It was so versatile. We had so many use cases, not just the internal marketing, but so many use cases that brought value. And, I wonder, are you worried that other companies will try to like steal your technology? Because you're very open with like sharing, how you're doing this. I wonder, one of the things that we talked about was passenger data safety, but how do you know that other companies aren't going to try to like copy what you're doing and then it's not going to be the same?
Okay. Yeah, thanks. This is a great gift, your question, because so we are also having meetings before organizing anything public, any public presentation, or what to present, what not to present. And the truth is that I'm constantly presenting outdated material, and the reason is not so. It is not because we strategically are hiding all of our new stuff. It is because I want to present things that we have tested with a customer, and this takes time. This takes so there are tests that I'm going to present that started 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even 4 years ago. So even if somebody would copy what we do today, we are still ahead, which is good. And I also think you give me another opportunity. Can you pass me the counter? Can you pass me the counter, the manual counter, the counter? So if you want to do counting today, there is two ways. There is two ways. Either to do manual with a clicker. So what you do is you go to Amazon, you buy a clicker, you hire someone standing in front of the security area or whatever area you want to measure. And then they start counting. This is the way that they get their APIs. And the other approach is they go for an enterprise sales. They go and they speak with a salesperson, and they go to a contract for a contractual process, etc. So I want to now unofficially, let's say, announce, this is not the webinar's focus, but unofficially announce that we have a counter system, a counting solution that you can install yourself practically. It's as easy to install as this without having to hire anybody. It's even battery powered, so it doesn't need even to be connected to electricity. And we sell it through Amazon because the counting is commodity. It is not an enterprise. It's not some innovation thing. And this is, I'm going to present far more advanced features than just counting. So the very great question on Kim, and maybe we should do a webinar only about this topic. Innovation, only about innovation. So regarding privacy, first of all, let's clear this because we are a German company and I need to speak about privacy. So our solution is being considered anonymous by the Data Protection Authority, by the German Data Protection Authorities here. So it doesn't even fall into privacy regulations. And we have also been certified by TÜV, by the certification agency, the most prestigious, maybe in Germany, and one of the most in the world probably, which also have the same opinion as the Data Protection Authority, that our data is anonymous. It's not considered personal data. We don't even need to ask for consent to do any analysis. So the classic scenario we are doing, which is the commoditized, as I mentioned earlier, so is how the passengers correlate with the revenue of the airport. So we count how many passengers go to the airport, which is also a challenge because people are entering the airport by not only the entrances, but also by every gate. So counting all passengers located inside the airport is already a challenge. So I don't underestimate the problem. And now what is the correlation between the passengers and the non-aeronautical revenue? What you see in this figure is that, yes, indeed, more passengers increase the revenue, but there is high revenue in moments when there is not so much passengers. If I do a similar figure, not for the numbers of passengers, but for the duration, for the dwell time, for the time that people spend in the commercial area, you see a 10 times higher correlation. So it is better to have passengers spending time on your commercial area rather than having too many passengers. Might be that it harms to have too many passengers also. Maybe Kim has experience also in San Diego Airport. I remember there were also some TikTok videos with congestions at the airport, if you remember.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of that. And I mean, when I look at some of this data, I mean, I mentioned before, sometimes as airport kind of long-term people, we have a gut check about, we know what's going to make people buy more. We know if we can get them through security, they're going to be on the other side. But it's not always backed up by data. And showing and making decisions about our terminal, making decisions about where we're going to place amenities or facilities or what we're going to bring in, we always need real data to bring to the table to kind of push the conversation forward. And that's where I think this was really helpful. We were able to really get it down to the minute or by the passenger style or by the flow and see how individual minutes shaved off of our dwell time related to actual sales on the other side.
Do we have a question?
Yes.
Just a minute, on the chat. Joanne is asking, hi Georgios and team, thanks for organizing the webinar. Is the information for the passenger journey connected somehow to the passenger flight? In other words, do we know that the flight of the passenger...
Okay. Oh yeah, don't spoil my presentation. I have exactly this slide. So, and by the way, I want to start with not step by step. I want to start with more advanced. Maybe we will lose the attention of people. So I want to make sure that people will hear this, which also involves the answer to the question. So we focus a lot on AI, not because AI is hyped, and I'm sorry if it's another presentation that's focusing on AI, but AI is really the next big thing. It is true. If you don't use AI, you, as quoted often, you'll be replaced by somebody who uses AI. So this is also our mission here to enable AI for airports and for the operations of the airports. We have this panel also that we're going to gather in ACI in Texas next month. So whoever is participating in the ACI event, visit our presentation here. It was organized by Christina Apatov from Fox. And there is Dominic from San Diego Airport, who is now the new team at San Diego Airport. There is Iyad from San Francisco Airport and Andrew from Sacramento Airport. We will all speak about AI and how to make sense and maybe more non-aeronautical revenue using data. So what we did for this presentation here was we surveyed the passengers. So we provided a survey for the passengers at the airport through our marketing capability. Whoever follows knows that we are not just one directional thing counting, but we can also send information to the passengers. And in this case, we sent a survey for passengers to fill. So we have the classic flow and how people moved inside the airport with a heat map. Now we have added this new feature where we have opt-in passengers. So this is a bi-directional information for which, by the way, we need consent. And if you wish, we can also discuss this aspect. So, and we can visualize now the results of the survey. So the passengers answered the survey and they were located somewhere. So we can get conclusions of why passengers gave good or bad feedback depending on what happened. For example, there was bad feedback in this case from passengers at the gate 33. And you see that the moment the bad feedback was given, there is a long queue, gate 33. The gate 50, probably a similar reason. Food court, a small group of passengers, probably because there was a table that needed to be cleaned. I don't know, but you can pinpoint the exact location of where the bad feedback came. Also, relatively bad feedback because of queues at shuttle bus. I was also there, and indeed, San Diego needs to do something. San Diego Airport needs to do something with shuttle bus queue times. Check-in. I can agree with this being here in Munich also. And then there is neutral responses. Taxi line was a neutral response. Sunglass Hut was a neutral response. Prado, which is a restaurant at the airport, neutral response. And the food court, there is a second food court here, whoever doesn't know, in San Diego Airport, there was also a neutral response. Then there is a good feedback, always in Phil's Barbecue, Gate 38, The Stone, also is another restaurant, and Gate 34, and exceptional high feedback, again, on Phil's Barbecue, Ktoba, it's a Mexican restaurant also, whoever is in San Diego Airport, I also suggest this. Aspire Lounge, exceptional positive feedback, and Prado got a neutral, but it also got good feedback as well. Bathroom is clean, so if you want to use the bathroom in San Diego Airport, use the east side. And taxi here for the people who left the airport, so the people who arrived at the airport, there was also good feedback. Now what I can do, Kim, do you want to tell me what do you think of it?
Yeah, I was kind of laughing as I saw this because a lot of airports, we interact with, maybe there's a prime operator who's managing a lot of the concessions and non-aeronautical revenue, and our interaction with them is really key to say, like, we need help over here, or we're having a challenge over here. We're getting a lot of feedback from passengers in, this area. How can you manage this a little bit better? And if we don't have that information, it just overwhelms our customer service departments. It overwhelms our passenger experience departments, our maintenance departments, all of our operations. And we're always kind of trying to play catch up. And so having this data and matching it up with the passenger trajectories and matching it up with what we know about the flight schedules helped us be more proactive, so we could kind of catch these things beforehand and have open conversations with our primes and with our concessionaires. And it's much more real time than it is when you're kind of going through a backlog of customer service feedback that's, a month old or 2 months old, or you're looking at last quarter's data. And by that point, you're in a completely new season and everything has shifted. So the real time of this is just so overwhelmingly important.
Yeah. So now this goes also to answer the question earlier. I can select people with certain feedback, and there is already an AI generated summary of what they did at the airport. So which flight they arrived or they fly from, which flight, which gate, which store they visited, and whether they purchased. So I hope that this answers the question, but I know that there is a lot of material here that you don't have the possibility to read through all of this. This is why we introduce another feature in our dashboard, which is the AI assistant. And in the AI assistant, you can ask any question. You can ask about what was the busiest hour. You can ask about what was the business location, or you can ask about general insights and suggestions that the AI assistant can provide you to improve your operations or to improve the conversion rate of your passengers or to improve the experience of the passengers, net promoter score, etc.
Georgios, this
yes.
is so cool, this AI agent. From my role now at Deloitte, one of the challenges we hear from customers, clients all over the place is they love the data. We always provide them a dashboard, but maybe they don't have someone on staff who understands how to interpret the data, who, they can look at a dashboard, but they don't necessarily know what is key about those things. What are those insights? How do they look at all the data that they're being provided with and know like what should be my next action step, or even how to dwell down into it? And so being able to just ask a question like, can you show me more insight about this? I think really helps smooth that kind of bridge between providing the data and then also providing the insights and why it matters and what their next step should be. That's just such a key part of this.
Yeah. Now airports can have business intelligence teams that they consist exclusively by AI, by artificial intelligence. And also, this is not just for suggestions. Related to your question you asked me initially, we have retailers today that they generate their employee schedule using the AI agent. So the AI agent takes decisions on the operations and of the infrastructure. But those people, I remind you that they opted in. So those people opted in. They also, while participating, they gave us a consent. Some of them, they gave us a consent to participate on our marketing campaigns. So now we can also do a very targeted marketing. We can build a campaign after we give a name to the campaign and give a specific query. For example, I can target a campaign to visitors of a sunglass hut inside San Diego Airport. So if people visited this store, I can send them a message. This message can be either through an SMS or WhatsApp or other means of communication. And this message can have a link for them to buy from the online store or sunglass hut. So the store can continue having sales even after the passenger has left the airport. And this is also a very advanced tool because it also allows you to see analytics such as how many messages you achieve to send, so how many messages related to the visitation of the specific polygon, of the specific area, how many received the message because of failures or because they just deleted it, and how many people end up clicking on the link, the online store that you send. So the entire funnel, step by step, the entire funnel. So we can find where the funnel is thinner and where it's thicker, so we know exactly where to focus. Do you want to add something, Kim?
I just wish that we had this when I was still there, because there's so many things I would have used this for when I was still at San Diego. I mean, I mentioned that we didn't have our marketing in the right place when I was there. We didn't have, and so we started to make those shifts. And I think combining that data with this data that you're getting on the click-through rate, with then the revenue data, and looking at how all of the pieces and parts work together. Like you mentioned, not siloing the data, but instead tying it to sales, tying it to revenue back to the airport, tying it to queuing time throughputs. And you can start to really get granular on where you're tweaking your operations to impact this kind of thing. And this is what we get asked for all the time at Deloitte is, clients are wanting to know, how can we have all of this pulled together so it's not just 16 different tools that we're using, but like one tool to bring it together. And it feels like this is what they're asking for.
Yeah, and also I need to mention that all of this is accessible through API calls. So even if you have a tool available, we can integrate with your tool. And through the links that the airport is pushing to the passengers, they continue generating revenue because the links, or at least most of them, they're affiliate links. So the airport is now acting as these influencers who give you the link below, and when you click the link, then they also generate revenue. That's exactly the same type of link. And in order to get such links, you need to have massive visitors. Okay, so you need to have an audience. So the airport can do that because San Diego, for example, has 15 million almost visitors annually. So I don't know many influencers with so many followers, let's call them.
That really impacts. I think about like Clear Channel and Lamar and JC all the advertising companies that set up in airports, and they price their locations based on how many people per day they think, are going to see it. And the pushback from people, the companies who want to advertise, is always, well, how do you know they're looking? How do you know they're not just on their phone? I want to pay less. And the revenue that those companies get, that Clear Channel and Lamar gets, a percentage of that is paid back to the airport. So if Clear Channel and them can show with data how many people are literally moving past the space, and that this is a dwell time because you can show that X number of people, millions of people paused here for 2 minutes before moving on. That's enough data to even charge higher prices for certain locations of advertising within the airport, and that money comes back to the airport through the revenue sharing agreement. So I mean, it all comes like circular. It's very cool.
That is exactly the topic now of the next slide. This is exactly the next slide. You spoil it. I don't know.
Sorry, I let us read
it. Did you know the next slide? This is exactly the topic of the next slide. No. So I was looking at the data also yesterday. This is a last moment slide, honestly, and because we spend some budget to bring people to this webinar. So we do online marketing. Okay, so we know very well the costs of online marketing. We don't have a store, but our customers have stores, or they have real estate in general. So we know a little bit what is happening there. Maybe we are from the few people that can compare these two. And I did this exactly yesterday. So I don't show any secret. All of the information I'm presenting is publicly available. So, and actually I make sure that the information is publicly available. I don't present any secret, and I'm not sure even if the data is correct. I use the public values. So there is a store of 100 square meters, which is located inside San Diego Airport, and the cost, according to public sources, is $307,000 per year. You don't confirm if you know the value, Kim. I just use it as an example. This store has 1 million passerbys in front of it, exactly what you mentioned earlier. So we can count how many people pass in front of the store. 1 million passerbys, 87,000 visitors. So you have 7.9% turn-in rate from passerby to turn-in to a visitor. And it has, this is also an estimation, and it has from the 7.9% turn-in rate, it has a 40% conversion rate. The average cost of product, I collected it from their website. The average cost of the product that they sell is $200. So this store approximately can make 35,000 sales times $200, which is about $7 million per year. The reason I mention this is not so much about how much money this store makes, but look at the funnel. So we have 327,000 US dollars to get from 1 million people passing by 80,000 visitors. We maybe occupy a full-time salesperson at the store for 50,000 US dollars. So in the end, the store makes 7 million. To make this amount of money, to make this money online, This is where I'm going with it. You need, for 35,000 clicks, you need 870,000, for 35,000 purchases, you need 878,000 people to click in your advertisement. And to get this, you need 21 million impressions. In order to get all of this audience, you need to spend, and this is a very low, but I wish we had these costs as a 454,000 US dollars in order to get the clicks here. You can argue that you don't have to have employee costs here. So this level you get for free. Already, you have exceeded the rent of the store at the airport. And what you also have is you need to ship now 35,000 packets. So you have an additional cost of 263,000 US dollars in order for you to generate 7 million. So the online world has become so expensive, and the physical world has really depreciated. I don't know if it is the correct word. That is really amazing to look into this funnel. What do you think?
Yeah, but you need to do the shipping to the physical shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but you do 35,000 packets at once, or I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
more concentrated. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. No, it's not comparable. It's not comparable.
But you still need some also you need some expenses there in making arrive, also making the products to arrive to the physical.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
And also they have to go through security. So there is indeed probably the cost, but it's still when you look at the figure, it is you need to spend twice more money to sell online. And also the reason I believe that there is now the word has been flipped is because we have more and more customers that they used to sell online, and now they are opening stores. So there is indeed, the word has been, a little bit skewed. So, and what is my point? What is my suggestion here is that the assets, the costs of real estate has been reduced, has been decreased. It should have been higher. Maybe there's an opportunity for people who want to invest in real estate or they want to open their stores, etc. But it definitely is going to be corrected because other people see what the figures say, and also what I did mention is this is the price of leasing without a discount. So I don't know anybody who leases space and they didn't receive discount. So probably I don't believe that this is how much the store ends up paying. But it's impressive. I wonder what is the true figures, 100% the 100% accurate figures. But there is definitely skewed data here. Mm-hmm. But let's go back to the traditional use cases, and let's see just by improving the queues, how much benefit you can receive. And this is not by the airport queues that I mentioned at the beginning. This is by one store queues. So we have a store reducing the queue time by 44%, and by reducing the queues, increase on revenue by 55%. So the ROI here is that people install these self-ordering things, so kiosks, so people can order without waiting in parallel even. So it's already an ROI here. Yes, sorry, Kim.
No, it's okay. I mean, I know a lot of this, the ordering food is becoming really popular in obviously the food and concessions parts in airports. I think where this made a huge impact for us at San Diego, adjusting the queue times and noticing its impact on revenue.
Yeah.
We used, I don't know how much I've mentioned this to you, but we used the data from Ariadne to share with the architects while we were in the middle of a new design build for the new Terminal 1. It was a $3.5 billion new terminal build. And while we were in the middle of that, the design phase, the architects came to us and asked us if we had any like sketches, if we had any understanding of like what our personas and passenger types were. And we were actually able to pull the trends from the Ariadne data to show a couple different types of groups of passengers and their tendencies and those traveling trends. And we shared that with them, and they actually identified a couple of areas where in their early layouts, they had some things in the what they would consider the wrong place based on our flows. And so they changed the location of like some key facilities and some key where the concessions could be, and that affected how those concessions designed their queuing lines. And they said those changes on their architectural designs, because they could like move the concession a little bit or do something else with how the queue line was working, it actually made smoother flow, and that increased revenue, would be increasing revenue once everything got built. And it was enough of an impact that they actually made these changes in this $3.5 billion design. And I mean, that's what the data kind of showed us. And then we were able to recommend companies to use these ordering kiosks in addition to those queue design flows. And it just sped it up even more and got more revenue from it.
This I also see in retail where we so they hired the company to redesign their place. And thankfully, we had data before, so we were able to compare also before and after. And I wonder, we had to adjust their plans because they were not with our data agree. They didn't agree so much with what we were suggesting. Yeah. And the classic use case is also the bathroom usage. So the bathroom is cleaned every standard intervals when it doesn't need to, because it doesn't get dirty by time, it gets by people. So if we just send the alerts, we measure this again and again, not only in San Diego Airport, that if we make more dense cleaning when it's used heavier and less when it's not used, we increase the satisfaction, we increase the experience of the passengers, and at the same time, we also save money. And it's considerable. It's almost $500,000 US per year just by reducing the intervals. If there is questions, we can also go to questions, because I know we are a little bit late. We have 10 minutes left. If there is questions, we can answer. Happy to share your feedback, Kim, or happy to show you more from our dashboard.
Yeah, we think we can open up and see if there are any questions anybody wants to ask, and if none are coming to mind right now, we can continue on. I didn't see anything new in the chat, but I know sometimes people want to come off mute.
We need this one there, one brave person to This is the Juan.
Go ahead, Juan.
Thank you. No, I just was trying to insist on the question how you manage the system to correlate the journey of the passenger with the destination of the passenger. Let's say for the origin and the arrivals maybe is difficult, but let's talk about departure. I can guess that maybe for the final destination of the journey, let's say of a passenger arriving to a gate, and the gate at that time, it is it is a destination, I don't know, Rome or Paris or whatever, and then you can, it is how you manage to match, if you match it, because I was not sure if you were able to match the due time, the journey with the flight.
Yes, we have real-time integration with flights, not only the departures, but also the arrivals. We know when a trajectory is leaving or coming to the airport, and this is how we do the matching. So it's a statistical approximation. We can be wrong, okay? But it is usually corresponds to the reality. The gates are pretty big and the flights are pretty sparse. So usually when you see trajectory appearing, the specific gate, for example, it is, and at the same time there was an arrival, probably this trajectory belonged to the flight that just arrived. And we also are working now, this is something that we said in the future, in the beginning, that we work in the future. We're also working with airports in the installing hardware inside the buses that pick up the passengers from the airplane. So we can also we can start the tracking, we can start the passenger flow from the bus itself, and the buses are also, the sensors are also have GPS sensors, so we can see which airplane the bus visited, what was the destination and source of the bus.
So you can follow the bus from the moment that is in the stand, let's say waiting and getting the passenger from the aircraft and then going to a terminal. You can also track that.
Yes, because we have sensors, not the one I'm presenting you, but we have sensors that are also equipped with GPS. So we know the location of the bus as well.
Okay, but the bus needs somehow a kind of hardware to connect.
Yes, we
Okay.
install sensors. Yeah, we install sensors.
Okay.
Georgios, there was another question in the chat asking what type of signal the sensors are actually detecting.
Okay, so I don't know what exactly you wish for me to answer. Maybe you expect from me to answer a specific protocol. We don't care so much about the protocol. We focus more in a lower layer on frequencies, and we are monitoring frequencies emitted in 2.4 gigahertz or in 5 gigahertz. And these contain multiple protocols, not only Wi-Fi. If you imagine Wi-Fi, there is also Bluetooth, there is ultra wideband in the new phones, and there is other signals. Zigbee is also in 2.4 gigahertz. Other protocols are also in 2.4 gigahertz. And this is why we can track phones even if they are not connected. And this is why we can track phones anonymously, because when phones are not connected to a network, they don't emit any personal identifier, and they don't emit any information that can be considered sensitive.
Georgie, another question, sorry. There are several amount of passengers that are traveling with two
phones.
Two phones.
Yeah.
How do you manage to, let's say, differentiate that is only a single person and not two persons?
Yeah, this is why I always stress that we measure trajectories, not phones. So in the end, actually, I do this, and we do this, our engineers also. We visit customers with a bag full of phones. So even if you come with a bag full of phones in the airport, we will measure one trajectory. So we will count one. Now, there is also the possibility that you come in a group, and we also report the group size. So the group and a passenger that carries multiple phones do not exactly match. So group usually also diverges a little bit, and when they diverge, we will diverge the trajectory, so we count two trajectories, but we will report both values. So we report trajectory, number of trajectories, and we will also report group size. So you may have been counted as a group of 2 people when you are one, which also doesn't happen often, because usually we are pretty good at recognizing a group.
Yeah, okay. And also the discrimination of workers from passengers.
There is 3 ways to exclude workers. One is trajectories that they stay in space for more than a certain amount of time, which can also be set by users. Usually this is more than 4 hours. They are excluded as employees. And the second way is usually there is networks where employees are connected only for employees, and we exclude every signal that belongs to that connection. So if some phone is connected to a specific network, to us it becomes invisible. Usually we don't even track the channels there. And the third way is you can be blacklisted. So you can tell us to exclude you. So you can scan a QR, and by scanning a QR code, our sensors know not to track you. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, just I would like to clarify, is it triangulation based on time delays, or it is based on signal strength, like RSSI?
Maybe we can say this more technical information in another meeting if you wish. It is far more accurate than RSSI, but it's no different time of arrival. I understand you have some background, some technical background there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can discuss. And also, the initial location estimation is not that exceptional accuracy. The exceptional accuracy comes by filtering the data later, and there we use an advanced particle filter algorithm to be able to pinpoint the exact location.
So just
yeah.
Okay. Another short question: is it works for there are some list of phones like it will not work for them, so like some old phones or some new phones it works, but some kind of phones it doesn't work.
Yeah, non-smartphones will require different antennas. So if you wish to track older phones on GSM, you need to let us know, so we provide special antennas for this. So by default, we do not track that type of signals.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions.
Yeah. People are educated. I think that today our audience is very educated. Nice to meet you also. All happy to jump in another call and discuss. I think we are also now out of time, and thank you for staying until the end. I hope it was educative. I hope you enjoyed, and we really want to do such events more often. We will try. And thank you, Kim, again for joining me with a very late notice.
Always happy to. Thanks, Georgios.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Right. We'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good one.